Hi guys, Brett Jones, CEO of Cre8, back again. I wanted to run through today two areas of life that are really important. As we discussed in the original system, for these two areas there is a system. So the first area is leadership, because you have to be able to lead yourself, you have to be able to lead a team, whether that's the very first team you were ever in, which of course is your family, or any other team that you create to give you the wealth, give you the businesses, give you the fantastic relationships that you need. So leadership is essential. The second area that I want to run through is relationships. Because again, creating anything in your life, you have to be great at relationships. See, in every area of life, there is a system. There's a system for being able to create what you want in your life and get the results that you're looking for. So what we did is we studied those people who were fantastic. We met with them, we talked with them, we found out what strategies they were using. And more importantly, we also found out what states they were in when they were implementing those strategies to get those results. Does that make sense? I'm sure it does. So guys, what I'm going to do today is run through each of those two areas and show you what the strategies are, the systems that bring these results. You know, people like Richard Branson, as an example, he's able to take these systems and he runs them in his own life. And he's fantastic at it. And you certainly should be listening to someone like that, shouldn't you? Okay, so let me run through the very first step in leadership. Having a vision. And some people will go, oh, duh, Brad, of course you need a vision. But what I mean about a vision is you have to be really clear for yourself why you're doing what you're doing. What is the vision? Where do you want to be? What area of life, using leadership, do you want to improve? Is it everything? Is it wealth just now? Is it creating a business? Is it creating beautiful relationships around you? Is it getting your health up to the level that you want it to be? Or is it simply self-mastery, to be able to take control of your states and no longer experience anxiety or depression, or those states that so often block so many great people from being absolutely outstanding and extraordinary? Whatever area it is, you've got to be really clear about that vision of where you can be in the future. And that's not a goal. It really is literally a picture inside of yourself, full of sound, full of a great feeling that's attached to the picture that creates that vision. Because the reality about us as human beings is we're not going to move anywhere unless it's compelling enough or we're in enough pain that it's like sitting on a frying pan and we have to move. So that vision has to be absolutely compelling. Now if you're creating a team, that vision has to be compelling to the team too. And for some people, that vision won't be compelling. But you want to attract and bring to you and select the people that are in alignment with your vision. Once you've got the vision, then you've got to be really clear on the purpose of the vision. It's not enough to say, guys, we're going to go out there, we're going to create this new business, and we're going to make heaps of money. The reality is that in every survey that I've ever read or seen, corporately, money does not motivate people. And you might think, well, hang on, that can't be right. But it is. People rank at number 3 and below. The top two things they want is they want to be recognized, a pat on the back, you know, job well done, and they want to be listened to in their environment. And if they get that, then they'll come on board with whatever your purpose is, why you're doing what you're doing. And that means for you, like I said in the original video, to get a little bit honest. You know, to get down in there and go, okay, what is it really that lights me up? Why do I want to start up this business? Because the money's great to enjoy, nothing wrong with that at all. But day to day, it's not going to motivate you. Day to day, it's probably more like the inspiration that you're creating for those people or the service that you're giving to your customers. It'll be one of those things around contributing. That'll be your purpose. And when you're clear on that, you'll attract the right people. And that includes if you're just talking about your family unit as a team, What's your purpose for your family unit? What are your values? What's really important in that area for you? Because once you're clear on that, suddenly your family gets transformed and you start to appreciate life in a completely different way. So vision, purpose, and then you've really got to talk about it. You've got to promote it within that team or that environment. So just on a personal level, you know, with my two young kids, quite often we'll sit down at night, lie in the bed next to each other as they're about to go off to sleep, go off to bed, and I'll ask them, you know, what was great in your day? What happened today that was absolutely fantastic, that you really, really enjoyed? And then the second question I'll ask is, what did you appreciate about today? And it just puts the day into perspective for them and gives them values around what's really, really important to us as a team, as a family, together. And it's exactly the same if you have a business or you're looking to create wealth and you need to meet with people that are going to help you do that. Because when you create wealth, you have a team. Anyone that's created a great amount of wealth has had a team to help them do that. And they've done these steps and they've been really clear about it. There's some great companies that you could model, that you could take all that information from and use within your own business, or your own family, wherever you have a team. And even if you're a stock trader and you're off on your own doing stock trades, there'll be people that you'll be talking to either online or on the phone finding about those stocks. And that becomes part of your team. And you still have to do these same things in that area. You know yourself, when you're around someone who's inspiring, you get inspired and then life suddenly starts to ignite. And that is one of the keys to being great in leadership. The next step, you have to create a leadership team. And the team is going to help drive your whole enterprise forward. Because we all know that the peer group pressure is the greatest motivator for any human being. If we're in a group and the group's doing something, our natural inclination is to fit in. So when you form a leadership team, if that's in your family, that could be yourself and your partner, and that becomes a leadership team. If you're really clear on these first three things, the vision, the purpose, and promoting it, then suddenly the team starts to come on board. And you get to a tipping point. And once you get to that tipping point, suddenly the whole enterprise is moving forward. And that's exactly what we want. Alignment. We have to create the alignment for the first four things in terms of leading. Then we find the team will come on board. They'll be in alignment with what we actually want to do. And we won't have to motivate them. That's the beauty of the system. You can actually step out of the business, if that's what we're talking about, or creating the wealth, and that team will go ahead and do it anyway because their purpose is big enough for them to be motivated by themselves. Does that make sense to you? I'm sure it does. The next step is to ensure that what is going on here is continued on through training, through hard systems that are in alignment with your purpose, in alignment with your vision. Some great companies have got fantastic visions, they promote the purpose, but when you have any association with that company, the reality is, as a customer, you don't experience it. And I know you all would have come up against a company like that. They've got beautiful things up in their reception or they promote it in their advertising, but your experience is something different. So if it's about a business, we want to ensure that that is being experienced. If it's about your family, that little example I gave with my kids ensures that their experience day to day is in alignment with our vision and our purpose around life. Next step, care and recognition. As part of promoting it within your team, you've really got to let them know that you care. As the leader, if they don't feel that they're being heard, if they don't feel that you really care about them, then you're not satisfying those higher needs that they have. And they won't be in alignment. And they certainly won't ensure that whoever the team comes in contact with gets that experience. You and the team have got to have emotional awareness, a high degree of emotional skills to be able to pick up how you can influence your customers even more. Tone of voice. Just being really emphatic about something and how they deal with the customer. All those things make a difference to the end result that you're seeking to have in your business, in your personal life, and being able to have self-mastery over yourself. To be able to be in the right state, to do the things that you need to do and get the result that you're looking to get. Next one. The hard skills. You've got to put all these things into a system. So if you want to have an exciting environment to work in, then there are certain procedures and systems that you have in place. That might be to set up something like the employees nominating each other for great service around the enterprise or great service with the customer. That gets them involved, it gives them a voice, and sets up a hard system for delivering the first 8 steps. Because doing that means you've got emotional awareness, you understand what it is that actually motivates someone. And exactly the same in your team. In your family. You would set up those little rituals like I explained with my daughter and my son. That's a hard skill. It's a ritual that you set up within the family. You might have a ritual every night of all sitting down to dinner. And as you do, you talk about your day and what happened in the day and how that day went for you. And was that a great experience or not so great experience? Then you talk about the strategies to make it a great experience, or how to cope or deal with what's happening in their day. You would talk about the states or values that you want your children to take on, and you would exemplify those. You would be that so they can model you and take those on. And lastly, in the leadership system, celebrate. Go out, have a great time with the team. Your family, the team itself, your friends, wherever you want to extend that influence. You've got to have a great time and you've got to celebrate. When you do those 10 steps, now you're doing the very things that those great companies that we all read about, those great leaders that we all read about, like Steve Jobs, like Richard Branson, etc. These are the things they're doing. And there's a definitive system for doing that. When you master the system, you get mastery, you get leadership, you get influence. And the same in intimate relationships too. We have to understand how to avoid the divorce trap. The sad reality is that in Australia, the divorce rate's about 70%. Why 70? Because the official statistics are taken from the 1950s, 1960s, that sort of period. And when you add those in, it drops the divorce rate. You take it from the 70s upwards, it's actually much higher. And that occurs because of that phenomenon I was talking about before. You can ignore your health for 20, 25, 30 years, but inevitably there's a result. You cannot put in place the things in your intimate relationship that are necessary to create ongoing, lasting, passionate relationship, and the result will be inevitable. It might not come for 15, 20, 25 years, but it will come. And I want you to avoid that. I want you to, in fact, have a sensational relationship. So let's run through the steps that are necessary. First step, commit and open. What does that mean? Well, I think we can all be honest and say to ourselves, look, when we go into an intimate relationship, we always tend to hold just a little bit of ourselves back, don't we? Just that little bit for safety. And really, do you think the other person doesn't really know that or doesn't pick that up from us in the 93% of communication that's non-verbal? And if you're on the other side of someone holding that little bit back, what are you going to do? You're probably going to hold just a little bit back too, aren't you? So now you've got two people in a relationship just holding that little bit back. That's like going out on the football team, going into the football team and going out onto the oval and playing and going, okay, we're going to play at 95% today. Not 100, we're going to play at 95. And the other team's playing at 100. Who's going to win? The other team, of course. And it's exactly the same in relationships. If we're not 100% committed, we're not 100% open, no matter what they're doing, no matter what they're doing, then we're not going to win at that game. And some people will go, well, that's pretty hard to do when the other person's being a little bit closed. But you know yourself in your own life. If someone's giving to you, I mean really giving, they're really open, they're really expressing themselves with you, they're really open to you, they're not being a doormat, but like they're there, they're present with you, they want you. Are you going to run away from that? I don't think so. That's the principle that actually makes relationships start to be fantastic. Second step is let go of patterns of behaviour. We all know in our lives that there are patterns that we run, and we run them in relationships. If we don't start to break some of those patterns that aren't working for us in relationships, we get an inevitable result out of running those patterns. If your partner does something and he or she annoys you, and you can't break that pattern, because whatever it is they're annoying you about is probably quite small. And really when you get into relationships and you start understanding them, what we like to do is we like to argue over the small stuff. Kids, sex, money, the mother-in-law, whatever it might be. Instead of really talking about the unsatisfied emotional need that's actually in the relationship. So we'll argue over the small stuff. And we start to run this pattern of doing that. And we get an inevitable result. The partner starts to get jaded with us too. They get a bit narky with us. And then suddenly we're in this pattern of fighting. We have great times and then we fight. And then we have great times and then we fight. And what ends up happening over a period of time is those times come closer together, much closer together. So now it's like just a roller coaster ride in a relationship. And eventually one of the partners gets tired of it. Their needs aren't being satisfied and they want to leave. Because certainly from a woman's perspective, she's feeling like, I know I love him, but I actually don't feel it. I'm not experiencing it. So the next step is appreciate the differences. What does that mean? There are differences between men and women. And if you don't know what they are and how they come up in your relationship, then there's no way you're going to be able to master your relationship. So you have to appreciate what the actual differences are. Like women's brains are designed completely differently to ours. Left and right brains, left and right hemispheres, connected by twice the size as in a guy's brain. 5 language centers in her brain and only 1 in a guy's. Why? Because they're wired for communication and they want to be able to express that all the time. So they use lots of words to do it and they want to tell you about the experience all the time. Whereas for guys, much different. We just want to get down to what are the facts, what happened, tell me about it. How was your day? Good. For her, that ain't going to cut it. She wants the full explanation. Who you met, who you talked to, how you felt about it, how they felt about it, how she's feeling about it right now. And if you don't get these differences, if you don't know about them, when you're communicating with her, it won't give her what she needs in the relationship. And there's an inevitable result from doing that. So next step, you have to master your states. There are states that we're in all the time. If I'm in work state and I come home to my wife and I'm not in the right communication state to be able to sit there and focus on her and listen to her and absorb her day and what's happened in her day and all the words that she now wants to use up with me, if I'm in the wrong state, because the reality about women is they will look at a guy and even though the guy is staring them straight in the eye, if he's thinking about something else, she will know it straight away because her brain is designed to tell her that. And how any woman on this planet will take that is, he doesn't care. He's not really listening to me. He's not giving me his full attention, so I'm not important to him. And that's not a message that you want to be sending to your intimate partner. So we've really got to be able to master those states to be able to be in the right place to deliver that and get the result in the relationship that we're seeking. Forgive. A difficult one for a lot of people. Over the years, things will happen in our relationship. And it's a bit like putting a brick down. You know, something happens and your partner does something to you, and this little brick goes down. And the next day something happens and you do something, and she puts another brick down. And over a period of time, these bricks start just building and building. And pretty soon, we're communicating, or trying to communicate, between this wall of bricks. And it's like tossing messages over the top. It simply doesn't work. We've got to be able to take this wall down. And the only way we can do that is get to a point where we go, you know what? The relationship that we've had to date really hasn't worked to the level that we would want it to work, or it could work. So that old relationship's dead. It's gone. It's no longer there. And a new relationship has to be born. And that starts out of forgiveness. Letting go of what's happened in the past and starting anew. And when we do that, we get new life. And we've seen people who haven't even been together, you know, they've separated, they've been apart 6 months or even more, and suddenly, using this system, they actually start to experience the love again. And once they do, their relationship ignites. The passion is back in the relationship. And that's what happens in the next step, is feel the love. Once you've implemented the first 5 steps, particularly step number 5, the love comes back into relationship. Both partners suddenly remember why they chose each other in the first place. And they start to experience that love again at a physiological level. All the right endorphins, all the right neurochemicals start to flow, and they actually start to experience it in their bodies. And they remember what it was like to be in the honeymoon period again. And the relationship literally ignites. That's what a system, the right system, can do for you. We encapsulated this whole system in my new book called The Forgotten Secrets of Lasting Forever. Great read. If you'd like to get a copy of the book, please just contact us and we'll be happy to send one out to you. And lastly, feel the love, and then the passion ignites in your relationship. And the thing about it, this system, as you implement it, allows you to master your relationship. And it just keeps rolling on from there. You just keep on growing. And instead of growing apart, heading in opposite directions, you actually start to head in the same direction. You feel like you're going to the same place, like you do in any team. If the team's not heading in the right direction, doesn't feel like they're moving together, now you've got a fractured team. And it's exactly the same principles in your intimate relationship. So guys, in those 2 areas, these are the systems as part of the Cre8 Leadership system that can give you outstanding lives. In the next video, I'm going to cover the final 2 areas for you. So thank you so much for joining me today. I trust you got value out of this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the final video. Thanks very much, guys. Bye for now.